What you see on the screen here is a hand-drawn lo-fi wireframe. So a wireframe is basically just the layout of components and elements for a web page or an app, showing where things will go and stripping out any styling so that a client can focus on information architecture and not on styling and appearance. And it's quite a valuable way of working. Now, I would encourage you to start on paper, pencil and paper. I know there are lots and lots of AI tools available to help you just type in a series of text prompts and get an automatic wireframe, including in Figma. However, I think there is value to pencil to paper. So the lo-fi wireframe is basically just indicating this is a 3-column layout, and it's got a header at the top, it's got a main area with 3 cards, and it's got a footer area with some social media links and contact. So we want to bring this into Figma, and without using any of the new AI tools, we want to build this wireframe. And the main reason why I want to do that is to show you the creation tools that you need to know. So even if you do end up falling back on AI sometimes to do stuff, you should still know these tools. You should, if you're going to call yourself a designer, you need to be able to drive the tools to build stuff. So let's get started. So this file you can download from the link in the description. It's called Lo-Fi Wireframe. It's just a JPG. And in Figma, I'm going to click on Design to make a new project. And the first thing I'm going to do is down at the bottom here, you'll see in this toolbar, there's a button that says Frame. So Frame is basically like your page or your screen. And just before I go any further, let me actually just go back here. You can see that we have all these things here, Site and Slides and FigJam. So Figma is kind of developing at a very rapid pace. So there's this site option is kind of like a website building component to Figma. So if you're a web developer, you could go straight there. But I'm going to use the traditional design workspace in Figma because I want to show you how to use the tools. So back here, we're going to give it a name, and we're going to call it Mid-Fi Wireframe. And then with the frame tool, I'm just going to go down the side here, and I'm going to choose desktop. That's a standard size of 1440 by 1024. Okay, and we're just going to do this one page at the moment because we won't have time to build a full website. And I'm going to bring in that lo-fi wireframe for reference. So we're just going to click away from the frame tool, and down the bottom here I'm going to go to this rectangle tool and choose image/video. And the image you will be able to download lo-fi wireframe. And I'm just going to place it in here. I just brought it in at its actual size. And then I'm just going to scale it to fit that width. And then I need to change the frame height to fit this. So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to go over here to desktop 1. That's the frame. And I'm just going to drag it down until it snaps to the bottom of that lo-fi wireframe. And I will call this desktop 1 lo-fi wireframe. Okay, I'm going to zoom out, so Control or Command and on my trackpad, 2 fingers or your scroll button. And I'm going to hold down Alt on Windows or Option on a Mac, and I'm going to drag a copy of this desktop next door. And I'm going to rename this one to Mid-Fi Wireframe. And then I'm just going to remove that. Well, I didn't want to do that. I want to go into the layer. So you can see here's my frame, the image in that frame. Here's the image in this frame. I want to get rid of that. So we're just, actually I don't want to. I'm just going to lock it. So we'll lock that one. And before I lock it, I just want to change the opacity down. So here's appearance, opacity. I'm just going to drag on that value to make it less prominent. And then I'm going to lock it. So now I can start building my wireframe. And it's really a simple case of placing boxes and putting a little bit of text in, but it's really basic at the moment. So, and I'm going to manage my layers as I go. So depending on how long this takes, I might speed up some sections of this, but let's get going. So I'm going to go to rectangle, and I'm going to draw a rectangle where this logo is. I'm holding shift to make sure it's a square. Okay, and then I'm going to go to image video, and I have a file here called image JPG. You can download this from the same link, and it's just a placeholder image to show that an image is going to go there. And I'm going to open it and just click on that frame, and you can see now I have that image there. And what I'm going to also do is go to stroke and press plus so that it's got a stroke around it, so it's more defined. Okay, so that's where our logo is going to go. Then we're going to go back to rectangle, and we'll create a rectangle for the search area. And I'm going to, okay, I'll leave it as that color and set the stroke to black. And I'm also just going to hide it temporarily so I can see what else is here. And I'm going to use the ellipse tool. Let me just zoom in a bit here. And I'm going to draw an ellipse to show that there's going to be some sort of little search icon here. And then I'm going to go down and choose image video, choose that image, and click here to place that image in there and put a stroke on it. Okay, and then I'm just going to put in some text. This is placeholder text, search, and we can change the size here. I'm going to leave it as standard font because this is a mid-Fi wireframe. It's not the actual final stuff. And then I'm going to show my rectangle. Okay, so now we've got a search box. And now I should start managing my layers. So here we've got, in fact, let me just finish the menu part and then we'll do the whole header section. Okay, so another rectangle. Okay, and some text. Let's just say menu 1. And let's give this a stroke. Okay, so I'm going to take those two items and I'm going to group them, Control or Command G. Then I'm going to hold down Option or Alt and make a copy, and then repeat that, which will be Control or Command D to repeat. Okay, so they're my menu items. So now I need to sort of set an area for that header. So I'm going to take my rectangle tool and I'm just going to draw a rectangle here. And I'm going to send it to the back. So right click and send to back. And let's just change that color. So over here, I'm going to choose a darker gray. So your wireframe should always be monochromatic. Okay, so if I go down to my lo-fi sketch, you can see we've now got a nice neat version of that. So let's manage our layer or layers because it's a bit of a mess at the moment. So let's see what we've got. So here, I'm going to put that there. This is header BG background. This is logo. This is a search box. This is search icon. And that's search text. So I'm going to take those three items and group them, Control or Command G, and I'll call this search. Okay, then we have, this is menu button, and then menu 1, and this will be menu 1. Okay, I'm going to change this text here to menu 2, 3, 4, and then we can just repeat that. So this will be menu button, and this will be menu 2, menu button, and menu 3, menu 4. Okay, so those 4 items can be grouped together, Control or Command G, to make it menu. So we have menu, we have search, we have logo, and we have header background. We can select all 4 of those, group them, and call that header. Whoa. Header. All right, and that's basically the process of creating a wireframe. So if you're familiar with something like Illustrator, it's really kind of easier than Illustrator in that there's fewer things to use. It's basically just making boxes, grouping, managing your layers. And so what I'm going to do is finish this, and I'm going to speed it up so that this video isn't too long. But I would encourage you to just practice using these basic creation tools in Figma as your beginning point with being able to drive Figma to create prototypes and interactions and things like that. Okay, so that is a very basic mid-fi or medium-fi wireframe, and I've used basically repetition, very few tools here. So this is by no means an exhaustive coverage of Figma tools. I haven't used layout tools, I haven't used auto layout, I haven't used the pen tool, all of that stuff. So you can dig into those and experiment with them. But this is basically just showing you the basic concept, and you'll see that my layers are now well managed. I've gone from top to bottom, so header, then top section, cards, and footer, and inside those layers everything is named correctly and managed properly.